father died quietly in his sleep in April. Thomas came to the funeral from the forest, unshaven in an old jacket. The neighbors whispered, "He's gone completely wild, couldn't even dress properly for his own father." Thomas paid no attention. What difference did it make what you wore when burying the dead? It was all the same to the dead anyway. His father was 83. A good, long life. War, reconstruction, factory work, pension. His wife had died 10 years earlier. After that, he lived alone. Thomas visited once a month, brought groceries, fixed whatever was broken. They talked little, there wasn't much to say. His father watched television. Thomas smoked on the porch. Then they said goodbye until next time. Now there would be no next time. After the wake, Thomas stayed to sort through his father's things. The old log house was stuffed with junk. His father never threw anything away. Newspapers from 50 years ago, broken clocks, empty jars. "Might come in handy," he used to say. It never did. Thomas worked methodically, without emotion. Trash in bags, valuables set aside. There were few valuables, documents, photographs, his grandfather's medals in a velvet box. Grandfather Peter Stephen Walsh stared from a yellowed photo. Young, handsome, in a partisan cap. He died in 43 during the breakthrough of the German encirclement. A hero. Thomas had been proud of him since childhood, the only hero in the family. Under a stack of old magazines, he found a small wooden box with metal corners. Thomas didn't remember it, he had never seen it before. He opened it. Inside were papers, letters, documents, photographs, and an old, worn map, hand-drawn on thick paper. A map of the very forest where Thomas had worked for 30 years. He recognized the outlines, the river, the swamp, the old trails. But in one spot, where he rarely went, there was a thick red cross and a faded inscription. Here it is. Thomas leafed through the other papers. Letters from his mother to his father, nothing special. Documents, certificates, receipts, pre-war family photos. And one more note penciled on a torn notebook page. "Pete, never go there, don't tell anyone, this is our secret forever." Father Pete, that was Thomas's father, Peter Ivan Walsh. But the note was from grandfather, the very same hero partisan. What secret? What was there? Thomas put the papers back in the box and took it to his forest cabin. For 2 weeks, he couldn't decide. He worked as usual, patrols, reports, minor repairs. He came back to the cabin, stared at the box, took out the map, studied it, put it away. He knew that place on the map, a remote corner of his sector, wilderness, ravines, windfalls, swampy lowlands. Even poachers avoided it. Nothing to do there. Or was there something? He recalled grandfather, or rather, stories about him. Grandmother said, "Peter was brave, cheerful, joined the partisans in 41, fought for 2 years, died a hero covering the unit's retreat." Father spoke little of grandfather. He frowned, changed the subject. Thomas used to think it was too painful to remember. Now he thought differently. What had his father known? What had he hidden? On the 3rd week, Thomas made up his mind. He left at dawn. May was dry and warm. The forest was waking, birds sang, leaves rustled. A good time for a walk, but this was no walk. Thomas followed the map, checking terrain, noting landmarks, old pine at the fork there, stream with fallen trunk there, ravine with clay outcrops there. The map was accurate. Grandfather knew these places well. By noon, he reached the right square. He stopped, looked around, nothing special, just forest, birches, aspens, undergrowth, no human traces, no structures, but the cross was here, exactly here. Thomas started searching, walked in circles, parted bushes, looked under deadwood. Nothing. An hour, 2, empty. He was about to quit. Maybe grandfather drew it for nothing. Maybe it had long since crumbled. Then he noticed something odd. A wall of bushes, blackberry, wild rose, elder, dense, impenetrable, and too straight as if grown along a ruler. Nature doesn't make straight lines. Thomas approached, examined. The bushes were old, many years, but clearly planted to hide something. He drew his machete and began chopping. It took an hour. Branches sprang back, thorns tore skin. Thomas chopped stubbornly, methodically, sweat stinging his eyes, shirt soaked. Finally, he broke through. Behind was a small clearing, hidden all around, and an earthen mound overgrown with moss, too regular to be natural. Thomas circled it, seeking an entrance. On the north side, a hatch buried under branches and soil. Someone had camouflaged it, but time had eroded it, exposing log edges, a dugout or bunker from the war. His heart pounded. Thomas took his flashlight, cleared branches, looked in. Earth steps reinforced with boards descended into darkness. It smelled of damp and something heavy, musty decay. There were dead down there. Thomas knew it instantly. 30 years in the forest taught him the smell of death, but 80 years had passed. Where was the smell from? He descended, inside dark and cold. The flashlight caught fragments, log ceiling, sandbags, rotted boards, narrow low corridor he had to stoop. At the end, a wooden door on leather hinges ajar. Thomas pushed. It creaked, gave way. A large room about 30 square meters, ceiling on posts, walls lined with burlap, 2-tier bunks along walls, on them people. Skeletons. 20, 30, Thomas didn't count. They lay in rows, some with arms dangling. Clothes rotted but recognizable, bandages, gowns, military uniforms. A hospital. This was a hospital. On the wall, a poster faded to yellow, death to the fascist occupiers. Nearby, a shelf with rusty tools, vials, bandages. In the corner, a rough operating table. On it, another skeleton, clamp or saw in hand. The surgeon died mid-operation. Thomas stood still, sweeping the light. 23 skeletons, each with the same neat small hole in the back of the skull. Entrance wound. They were executed, all the bedridden wounded nurses, doctor. Coldly, methodically, Germans, who else? But how did they find this place in the wilderness, underground, behind bushes? You don't stumble on it, only if you know, only if someone showed. Betrayal, the word surfaced. Thomas chilled. The map, the note, never go there, this is our secret. Grandfather knew this place. Knew and hid, why hide if innocent? Thomas forced movement, walked between bunks, shone light, searched for proof, clues, anything. In the corner, under a fallen shelf, a rusted metal box. Inside, papers miraculously preserved from damp. A notebook in oilcloth. First page, military paramedic Mary Sokol. Hospital journal. Thomas turned pages carefully, they crumbled. Entries from 42, wounded arrivals, operations, deaths, routine hospital work, but in a dugout under bombs, no medicine. Then October 43 entry, received 4 from Gregory's detachment. Too critical, hope for the best. 2 days later, runner came, detachment heading east. We stay. Too many wounded, non-transportable. Next day, strange feeling we're watched. Maybe nerves. War. Last entry, hurried, Germans surrounded. Someone betrayed. They knew the entrance. Walsh saw him leaving to them. Traitor. If found, no. Betrayed by Walsh, Peter Walsh of the 3rd Brigade. Forgive, motherland. Forgive, mama. The diary ended. Thomas sat on the earthen floor, staring. Letters danced. Walsh, Peter Walsh, his grandfather, hero partisan, died bravely, traitor who gave up the hospital. Thomas didn't recall exiting. He came to on the clearing against a birch, diary gripped, fingers white. How long? Hour 2. Sun shifted, shadows long. Evening. He needed to go, call police, administration, report. But Thomas didn't move. Sat, looked at trees, thoughts raced, collided, shattered. Grandfather traitor? Impossible, mistake. Another Walsh, plenty in partisans. But the map in father's box, cross here. Note, never go there, our secret, father knew, kept silent lifetime, so true. Thomas opened diary, reread last entry slowly. Walsh saw him leaving to them. Traitor Peter Walsh, 3rd Brigade, grandfather. His name on monument. Coincidence or verdict? Home Thomas returned at dark. Walked in dream, legs carried, head empty. Faithful met at porch, wagged tail. Thomas ignored, went in, sat at table, spread papers, paramedic's diary, map from father's box, grandfather's note. 3 documents, 3 mosaic pieces. Picture formed, terrifying. Grandfather knew hospital, drew map. Warned father, never go there. Hid place 80 years. Why hide if innocent? Thomas took folder from cabinet, family archive. Photos, documents, medals, all left of grandfather. Photo, young man in partisan cap with rifle. Handsome, confident hero. Death certificate, Walsh Peter Stephen died 12 October 1943, an enemy encirclement breakthrough, showing courage and heroism. Medal for valor posthumous. Red Star Order posthumous. Memory book entry, P.S. Walsh, partisan 3rd Bryansk Brigade, fell bravely. All lies. Thomas stared at grandfather's photo, face, eyes, sought betrayal traces, guilt shadow. Nothing. Ordinary young pre-war face. Millions like it. Some heroes, some traitors, can't tell by face. Night Thomas didn't sleep. Sat at table, read diary again, sought details. Paramedic Mary Sokol kept neat records, wounded names, diagnoses, treatments. Sometimes personal. Vanya Kuznetsov died night 19, mother waits in Kursk, won't. Brought girl from Lipki village, burned, Germans torched house with people, screams nights, don't know how to help. Alex surgeon works days, hands shake fatigue, fear for him. Ordinary entries, ordinary war, death, pain, hope. Then abrupt, last entry, execution. Thomas noted hospital discovered 15th October 1943, 3 days after grandfather's death. 3 days. What happened those 3 days? Grandfather went to Germans, gave location, got something then? Returned as hero or vanished, new documents? Too many questions, few answers. Needed other sources, archives, documents, testimonies, if exist. Morning Thomas went to District Archive. Old building, former merchant house turned offices. Dusty corridors, creaky floors, old paper smell. Archivist, woman about 60 in thick glasses, met warily. What you need? Documents on partisan movement, 3rd Bryansk Brigade 43. Why? Thomas hesitated, tell truth or invent, seeking relative. Grandfather fought in brigade. Woman softened. Surname, Walsh Peter Stephen. She noted, went to storage, returned half hour with thin, worn folder. Here partisan Walsh P.S. personal file. Can't copy, only read. Thomas took folder, hands shook. File sparse. Form, Walsh Peter Stephen, born 1918, native Alkofka village, 7 classes education, pre-war tractor driver collective farm, married 1 child. Characteristic, shows bravery battles, disciplined, politically literate, recommended junior lieutenant. Awards, Medal Valor, Red Star, both posthumous. Death report, 12th October 1943 during encirclement breakthrough, partisan Walsh P.S. covered unit retreat, died machine gun burst. Body not found. Body not found. Thomas reread lines several times. No one saw death, just covered retreat and vanished. 3 days later, hospital executed. Hospital grandfather knew, marked on map. Coincidence. Thomas continued, found report November 43, to 3rd Bryansk Brigade Commander. Report. Upon check, partisan hospital square 47B destroyed by enemy 15th October. 23 perished, including paramedic Mary Sokol MI. Circumstances discovery by enemy under investigation. Presumably betrayed. Investigation ongoing. Commander Scout Company Gregory. Presumably betrayed. Investigation. What found? Who suspected? Thomas searched, found document January 44. Results investigation hospital destruction quadrant 47B established. Hospital found by enemy during combing terrain. Betrayal version unconfirmed. Case closed. Brigade Commander Robert Kovalov. Betrayal unconfirmed. Case closed. Thomas stared, disbelieved. How unconfirmed? Paramedic saw Walsh leaving to Germans, wrote diary before death. Why not believe, or didn't know, diary stayed in hospital underground. Didn't find because hospital not found, because someone hid. Who? Thomas stayed till closing, rummaged all. Personnel lists, battle reports, award sheets. Sought mentions grandfather, hospital, investigation. Found little. Grandfather listed dead hero, no suspicions, clean biography, clean memory. Hospital mentioned once in that report, then silence as if never existed. Investigation closed for lack proof. Who led, what found, unknown. Ends cut clean. Someone worked hard. Thomas left archive, head buzzing, eyes aching. Sat on bench at entrance, lit cigarette. What next? Option 1, forget, bury diary, tell no one, live as before with hero grandfather, clean conscience. Option 2, dig deeper, find witnesses, documents, uncover truth, whatever. Option 3, report authorities, give diary, show hospital, let experts handle. First option, easiest, vilest. 23 people lie earth 80 years nameless, graveless, memoryless. Executed, forgotten as if never existed. Forget, become accomplice what grandfather did, what father hid. Thomas tossed cigarette, ground it. No, wouldn't forget. Evening he called Gregory, not Scout Company commander, long dead, his grandson Simon Gregory, local historian. Thomas knew him casually, met at district events. Simon, this is Walsh, forester. Need talk. About what? War, partisans, your grandfather. Pause. Come, no address. No. Gregory lived on town outskirts, private house drowning in garden. Met on porch, short, gray-haired, sharp gaze, come in. Tea, yes, sat in kitchen. Gregory poured tea, got jam, so what happened? Thomas took diary, put on table. Found something in forest, my sector. Gregory took, opened, read slowly, frowning, face hardening page by page. Finished, looked up. Where found, bunker, underground hospital. 23 skeletons executed. Gregory silent, long, heavy. My grandfather, he said finally, searched this hospital after war. Knew somewhere here, didn't find, why search? Suspected betrayed, traitor in unit. Walsh. Gregory nodded. Walsh, your grandfather. Thomas's breath caught. You knew, suspected. My grandfather told before death in 80s, Walsh shady. Vanished battle, body not found, 3 days later hospital destroyed. Too many coincidences. Why not report, investigate? Gregory smirked bitterly. Who report? War ended 40 years ago. Walsh hero, monument stands. I have only grandfather's words, no proof. Now there is, Thomas nodded at diary, paramedic saw with own eyes. Gregory took diary, reread last page. Saw wrote, died, so true, likely, silence heavy, oppressive. What do? Thomas asked. Gregory thought long. Report, he said finally. Police, prosecutor, search squads. Let raise remains, expertise bury humanely. And grandfather, what grandfather? Gregory looked eyes, dead 80 years, can't punish. Can only tell truth. That breaks all monument, awards, family. No, Gregory paused. But those 23, someone's family. Waited, searched 80 years, didn't know where. Thomas looked at diary, last entry, trembling script. If anyone finds, no. Paramedic Mary Sokol wanted known. Dying wanted truth. He had no right hide. Okay, Thomas said, report. Police came next day, 2 jeeps, 6 people. Investigator Captain Daniel Ermelieve, young, tired eyes. Criminologists, experts, photographer. Thomas met at forest edge, led to place, walked silent. Investigator glanced at Thomas appraisingly, perhaps thinking, what man, why stir this? Thomas didn't explain. Too early, first let's see. Reached hospital 2 hours. Thomas showed entrance, descended first, others followed. In bunker, powerful lanterns flooded room mercilessly bright. Skeletons on bunks looked worse than dim. Investigator Ermelieve stopped middle room, stared silent, still. Face paled. How many? He asked finally. 23, Thomas answered. I counted. Who they? Partisan hospital, 43, Germans executed. Ermelieve approached nearest bunk, examined. Bullet holes back head, all without exception. He straightened, rubbed face hands. 80 years, he said. 80 years, no one knew. Someone knew, Thomas answered. Someone hid. Ermelieve looked sharp. What mean? Thomas took diary, handed. Here, paramedic diary, last entry before execution. Ermelieve took, opened, read slowly, lips moving. Reached end, froze, betrayed by Walsh, he read aloud. Peter Walsh, 3rd Brigade. Looked at Thomas. Walsh, your surname? Yes. This Peter Walsh, who to you? Thomas silent, words stuck throat. My grandfather, he said finally. Peter Stephen Walsh, partisan hero, thought so whole life. Work took week. Criminologists photographed, measured, drew schemes. Experts took soil, wood, bone samples. Search volunteers from Regional Memory Squad helped exhumation. Thomas there every day, morning to evening. Couldn't leave. Felt his duty, atonement. Remains lifted carefully, one by one, bagged, numbered. 23 bags, 23 people. Among things, almost nothing. Rotted clothes, rusty buttons, bandage scraps. Time destroyed all. But some survived. Medallion on one skeleton's neck, brass darkened. Inside, rolled note miraculously intact. Expert unrolled carefully, read, Kuznetsov Ivan Alexievich, born 1924, City Kursk, Sadovaya Street, House 12. Kuznetsov, that Vanya paramedic wrote of. 19, mother waits Kursk, woe. Didn't wait 80 years, didn't know where son. Found on another skeleton party card, soaked unreadable. But number preserved, could identify by it. And gold wedding ring, inside engraving, Masha plus Alex 1940. Alex surgeon, Alex paramedic wrote, works days, hands shake fatigue. Now his hands in bag number 7 with ring he never removed. By weekend, tallied, 23 bodies, 7 preliminarily identified. By medallions, documents, special marks. Kuznetsov Ivan, Sokol Mary paramedic, Peters Alexander surgeon, 4 more by party cards, notes. Remaining 16 unknown yet. Investigator Ermelieve queried archives. Central Regional Military. Sought hospital personnel lists, medical cards, reports. Found 2 weeks later. Field Hospital Number 47, 3rd Bryansk Partisan Brigade list, dated September 43, month before execution. 26 people, doctors, nurses, orderlies, wounded in treatment. 23 died in hospital, 3 absent during attack, survived. Ermoliv showed list Thomas. Here all names. Now can search relatives. Thomas read slowly, peering each line. Sokol Mary Ivanovna, paramedic, born 1920. Peters Alexander Nikolaevich, surgeon, born 1915. Kuznetsov Ivan Alexeyevich, fighter, wounded, born 1924. 23 names, 23 fates cut one day. End list note added later, different hand. Hospital destroyed, enemy, 15th October 1943, all personnel perished. Circumstances clarifying. Circumstances clarified 80 years later. Searching relatives, long, complex. Many families moved, changed addresses, dissolved in vast country. Some lines ended, died war, post-war, but found some. First, paramedic Sokol's granddaughter Tatyana Igorovna Sokol, 72, lived Voronezh. Her father Igor, born 41 months before war. Mother Mary joined partisans, left infant with grandmother. Never returned. Officially missing 80 years. Family didn't know what happened. Ermoliv called personally. Tatyana Igorovna, investigator Ermoliv from Bryansk region. News about your grandmother. Pause on line long, heavy. Found her? Yes, found. Tatyana Igorovna came 3 days later. Small, gray-haired, trembling hands. Looked at bag with remains, cried quietly, soundless. Papa searched her whole life, she said. Till last day said, Mama somewhere there in forests need find. Didn't find, died not knowing. Thomas stood nearby, silent. What say? Now know, he said finally. Now can bury. Tatyana Igorovna looked at him. You who found, yes, thank you. She took his hand. Thank you, not passing by. Gradually found others. Surgeon Peters's nephew from Moscow. Sanitris Kovalev's great-granddaughter from Smolensk. Wounded fighter Sidorov's grandson from Orel. People came old, young, looked at remains, cried, thanked. To each Thomas told same, how found, what saw, what learned. Each sooner or later asked, true they betrayed. Thomas, true. Diary paramedic wrote before death, named name. Who? Walsh, Peter Walsh, my grandfather. Reactions varied. Some silent, averted eyes. Some flared, shouted. One woman, dead nurse's granddaughter, spat his face. Thomas didn't blame, didn't justify, just stood, wiped cheek. I understand, he said. I not him but carry his name, his blood. Why report then? Woman asked. Could silent no one know? Couldn't, Thomas answered. They deserve truth. All 23. End month held press conference. Regional administration, prosecutor, search squads, journalists, local, federal. Ermoliv reported. Discovered partisan hospital, 23 dead, circumstances death established. From data, he said, hospital given to German occupiers by traitor from partisans. Traitor name established. Walsh Peter Stephen, fighter 3rd Bryansk Brigade. Journalists buzzed, cameras clicked. Same Walsh on monument? Yes, same. What now? Remove from monument. Ermoliv looked at Thomas, who sat front row, eyes floor. Not for me decide. For victims, relatives, and society. After conference, young journalist with recorder approached Thomas. Walsh, your grandfather. Yes, how feel? Thomas silent. How answer? Lousy, he said finally. Whole life proud, thought hero, turned out killer. He didn't execute, he gave up. Same thing, journalist noted, nodded. What do? Don't know, live on, change surname. Thomas raised head, looked straight heavy. Maybe, not decided yet. Evening he returned cabin, sat porch, lit up. Faithful lay nearby, head on pause, silence. Forest rustled distant, birds sang. Ordinary evening, ordinary life, only all changed. Thomas took grandfather's photo from family archive, looked young face, confident smile. Who were you grandfather, hero or under mask, brave or coward? Why betray? For what money, safety, save own skin? How live after with knowledge, secret? How look wife, son, grandson eyes? No answers. Grandfather took to grave, or wherever vanished October 43. Thomas crumpled photo, threw grass, then reconsidered, picked up, smoothed. No, can't destroy. History, terrible but history, need remember so not repeat. Scandal erupted next day. Article in regional paper with hospital photo, victims list, traitor name. Headline screamed, hero turned killer. Truth about partisan Walsh. By evening federal reprint. By night internet discussed. Opinions split. Some demanded justice, remove Walsh name from monument, strip awards posthumous, consign oblivion. Others defended, one diary no proof, paramedic could mistake, can't judge dead. Third attacked Thomas, why air dirty laundry? Betrayed grandfather memory, traitor himself like. Thomas read comments till night, eyes burning, each word blow. Knew would be, knew and did anyway, because silence worse, but no easier. Third day TV crew came, minibus Federal Channel logo, cameras, lights, correspondent slick confident, shoved mic. How feel learning truth about grandfather. Thomas silent, stared camera, couldn't speak. Regret reporting find, silence. What say victims' families? Thomas turned, went house, slammed door before camera. Evening segment aired. Traitor's grandson refuses comment. Tone condemning, hinting. Neighbors started glancing askance. Shop clerk averted eyes. Local cop greeted through teeth. Walsh surname like brand, sentence. Fifth day Gregory called. Thomas come news. Thomas came unshaven, red eyes. Gregory sat him table, poured tea. Look bad, feel bad, understand. Gregory paused, but something may be important. Took folder, opened. Dug archives deeper than police. Found interesting. What? Testimonies dated 45, interrogation German officer, punitive squad commander operated our forests. Thomas leaned forward. Gregory found page, read aloud. Question, how discovered partisan hospital near Alkovka village? Answer, informed by informant local Russian from partisan unit. Question, informant name? Answer, don't know. Contact through intermediary, know only codename Forrester. Gregory looked up. Forrester, not Walsh. Forrester. Thomas frowned. What could be codename? Grandfather could or not. Gregory turned page. Here another German same unit testimony. Informant Forrester transmitted info regularly spring 42 to fall 43. After October 43 contact broke. After hospital execution. Yes, exactly then. Gregory closed folder. Your grandfather officially died 12th October. Hospital executed 15th. If Forrester he, contact should break earlier. Maybe Germans not know death immediately. Maybe, but other variant. What? Gregory looked straight. Forrester not your grandfather, someone else. Thomas drove home thinking, someone else real traitor, someone else. But diary, paramedic Mary Sokol clearly wrote, Walsh saw leaving to Germans. Saw with own eyes or thought saw. Night panic, Germans surround hospital. Dark figure flashes, goes to enemy. Was it really Walsh? Thomas recalled partisan unit over 1,000 people. How many Walshes? 1, 2, 10, and how many new hospital? Paramedic saw man, decided Walsh. But sure, or assumed. Too many questions, few answers. Next day Thomas back archive. Archivist same woman glasses met warily. You again? What now? Personnel lists 3rd Brigade 43. Why, more namesakes. Woman snorted but brought folder. Thomas leafed slowly, carefully. Thousands names, hundreds pages. Walsh, Walsh, Walsh. Found 7. 7 with surname Walsh in 3rd Bryansk Brigade. Walsh Peter Stephen his grandfather 3rd Company. Walsh Ivan Fedorovich scout fighter died August 43. Walsh Simon Michael radio, operator missing September 43. Walsh Andrew Paulovich orderly transferred other brigade July 43. And 3 more other units not linked hospital. 7 Walshes. 7 men, any could be that night near hospital. Paramedics saw Walsh, but which? Thomas dug deeper. Walsh Ivan Fedorovich died 2 months before hospital execution. Out. Walsh Andrew Paulovich transferred 3 months, could return theoretically, but unlikely. Walsh Simon Michael radio operator missing September 43 month before execution. Missing. Thomas lingered line. Radio operator, knew all codes, safe houses, locations including hospital. Missing body not found like grandfather. 2 men vanished same time, both Walshes, both could know hospital. Coincidence or link? Thomas found Simon Michael Walsh file. Thin, incomplete. Form, born 1919, native Berezovka village, 10 classes education, radio courses, pre-war post office worker. Characteristic, disciplined, diligent, responsible, politically reliable. Disappearance report, 18th September 1943 radio operator Walsh SM not returned assignment. Search no results. Presumably died or captured. Presumably. No death proof, no capture confirmation. Just vanished. Thomas leafed on, found Scout Commander Report October 43. Report per info radio operator Walsh SM went over enemy. Defector from German unit testimonies indicate informant callsign Lisnik. Description matches Walsh SM. Request investigate. Thomas reread thrice. Description matches Simon Walsh, not Peter Walsh. Someone suspected radio operator then. Reported command. Why not investigate? Why bury? Answer next folder. Resolution on report. Investigation inadvisable. Walsh SM died. No betrayal proof. Case closed. Brigade Commander Robert Kovilov. Same Kovilov closed hospital investigation. Thomas recalled. Betrayal version unconfirmed. Signature Kovilov. Same man closed both, buried both. Why? Thomas sought Kovilov info. Found little. Kovilov Fedor Ivanovich 3rd Bryansk Brigade Commander. Post-war party work, died 72, buried honors. No suspicions, no accusations. Clean biography, too clean. Evening Thomas called Gregory. Simon need help. What found? Much too much. Gregory came hour later. Sat kitchen, spread papers. Thomas told haltingly jumping, 7 Walsh's radio operator Simon scout report Kovilov. Gregory listened silent, then took own notes. I dug too. Found about Kovilov. What? Post-war fast career. 2 fast ordinary partisan commander. By 50 secretary district committee, by 60 in regional. And relatives, cousin Walsh Simon Michael. Thomas froze. Kovilov and radio Walsh relatives? Cousins from same village, same family. Picture formed. Radio Walsh traitor codename Forrester. Gave Germans partisan sites including hospital. Cousin Kovilov brigade commander learned or guessed betrayal but didn't expose. Covered relative, closed investigation. Made scapegoat other Walsh Peter who died or vanished same days. Perfect dead silent. Theory only, Gregory said. No proof. Diary, Thomas countered. Paramedic saw Walsh. Saw someone surname Walsh or like Walsh. Dark panic, she wrote Peter Walsh 3rd Brigade. How new name? Gregory shook head. Paramedic worked hospital, your grandfather 3rd Company, they might never meet. Then why wrote his name? Because someone said. Someone knew both Walshes, pointed your grandfather. Thomas thought, who could say? Who knew hospital, grandfather, radio? Brigade Commander Kovilov. You think, Thomas said slowly, Kovilov framed my grandfather. Think possible. If brother traitor needed other guilty. Dead convenient. Your grandfather fit perfect. But why paramedic believe? No choice. Germans surround, someone yelled, Walsh betrayed. She remembered, wrote before death. Gregory leaned back. Understand what means, Thomas understood. His grandfather possibly innocent, slandered, framed. Bore traitor stigma 80 years undeserved. Real traitor escaped unpunished, died bed, buried honors. Need prove, Thomas said. How? Gregory spread hands, all witnesses dead. Documents incomplete, circumstantial. Clues not proof, must be more, someone knows truth. Who? 80 years. Thomas silent thought, 80 years, all who fought dead or dying. No witnesses left, or are. Defector, he said suddenly. Report mentioned defector German unit told about Forrester. What became? Interrogated, gave testimonies. Where those? Gregory pondered. Don't know, need search. Then search. Search took 3 weeks. Thomas and Gregory worked team. Gregory raised connections, arranged archives. Thomas traveled, dug, read, sought defector testimonies, that one told about Forrester Fall 43. Found Moscow archive case number 4728 on Wehrmacht deserter F. Hoffman. Fritz Hoffman, Corporal 112 Infantry Division, went over partisans September 43. Interrogated brigade command, gave testimonies German positions and Russian informant. Thomas read protocol, yellowed, typed. Question known Russians collaborating German command. Answer yes heard informant partisan unit codename Forrester. Question what known him. Answer contact through Oberleutnant Kraus, informant past partisan sites info, personally not seen. Question describe. Answer from Kraus, young about 25, speaks German well, works radio operator or radio man. Question name. Answer don't know. Kraus called only Forrester. Thomas reread, works radio operator or radio man. Grandfather Peter Walsh, ordinary fighter, no radio link, but Walsh Simon Michael, professional trained radio. Coincidence or confirmation? Gregory found another document, Kraus Oberleutnant report, same through whom Forrester contact. Captured partisans November 43, interrogated before execution. Report German with translation. Informant Forrester Russian partisan unit contacted spring 1942. Reported 3 partisan camps, 2 depots, field hospital locations. For info got food, promise evacuation Germany after war. Last contact 14th October 1943. Gave exact hospital coordinates, guard change time. After contact broke. Assume informant died or exposed. Thomas looked date, 14th October. Grandfather died 12th. Forrester contact broke 14th. If grandfather traitor contact break 12th, but continued 2 days. So Forrester not grandfather, someone else. Clue, Gregory said when Thomas showed report. Serious clue. Not proof but another mosaic stone. They sat Gregory's house, laid documents. Connections map, events chronology, suspects list. Look, Gregory trace scheme. Walsh Simon vanishes 18th September. Your grandfather dies 12th October. Hospital executed 15th. Forrester contact breaks 14th. If Simon Forrester could betray hospital after vanish, hid somewhere, kept German contact, then something wrong. Maybe Germans eliminated unnecessary witness. Maybe died retreat, unknown. Thomas nodded. Logic sound but unprovable. Need witness, he said. Someone saw, knows, 80 years who left, Thomas thought. Partisans all dead or dying, Germans too, locals. Berezovka village, he said. Where Simon Walsh from? Anyone left? Gregory shrugged. Don't know, can check. Berezovka dying village. 20 houses, 5 lived in, rest boarded, abandoned. Population, 14, all old. Thomas came Saturday morning, found former chairman long retired. Asked old-timers who remembers war. Chairman scratched head, almost none, who remembered died. Walsh family, we're here such, old man pondered. We're somehow big family pre-war 15 people, after almost none left. Who left? One Nora maybe. Nora Walsh, old woman 96 or so, lives edge by forest. Thomas' heart skipped. She remember war, devil knows, head. Chairman twirled finger temple, remembers sometimes not, but talk possible, why not? Nora's house on outskirts, old leaning but alive. Smoke from chimney, chicken's yard, cat porch. Thomas knocked long, no answer, then shuffling steps, door creaked. On threshold old woman small, withered like autumn leaf. Face wrinkles, eyes cloudy teary, what want? Hello, name Thomas, seek people remember war. War, old woman squinted, war all remember, who not remember not lived. Can enter talk, she looked long appraising then stepped back, come in. Tea. Kitchen cramped sooty, stove, table, bench, wall icons, framed photos. Nora poured tea, old kettle, chipped cups, sat opposite, well ask what. Walsh, yes was Walsh, remained Walsh, didn't marry, no time. Remember Simon Walsh radio from partisan unit. Old woman froze, cup trembled hand. Simon, voice changed, quieter, duller, remember how not. Who to you? Cousin brother, grew together, played, then war. Thomas took photo from archive, young man uniform smiling. This him. Nora took trembling hands, looked long fixed, he Simon. Handsome, smart, all girls pined him. What happened him? Old woman silent, stroked photo fingers. Vanished, she said finally. 43 was gone, searched not found. What said village unit? Nora raised eyes. Something flashed, fear, pain, shame, said various. What various? Silence long heavy, said traitor he. Voice dropped whisper. Said went Germans, betrayed own. Thomas' throat tightened. True, Nora not answer, looked table, cup cold tea. Grandmother, Thomas leaned, important very, many died betrayal, need no truth. Old woman raised head, tears eyes, truth you say, why truth, 80 years. All dead guilty innocent, not all, I alive, victims, families alive, need know what, that Simon scum, sold own blood German canned meat. Thomas froze, so true, he traitor, Nora silent, then slowly heavily nodded. Saw own eyes how went German's night secretly, thought no one knows but I knew. Story poured halting with pauses. Old woman spoke, cried, spoke. Simon pre-war different not like all, smart too cunning. Always wanted something wealth power, said, rot this village need out and out. To city radio courses returned proud important. Then war he immediately partisans, not immediately, first hid. Germans came, started visiting them, helped translate something. Spoke German well, learned school, I say. Then joined unit when partisans gained strength. Thought patriot hero but he. Nora paused, wiped eyes. I saw accidentally nightfall 42. Went forest need see Simon going somewhere glancing. I after him hid watch. What saw, met German some officer, talked, passed papers. Then German gave something cans schnapps. Told anyone, Nora shook head. No feared. Simon kin. Betrayal execution, not only him whole family could, and silent. Silent whole year, thought maybe seemed, maybe misunderstood. Then hospital executed. 23 people all, knew some. Masha paramedic knew, good kind. Old woman paused, face twisted pain. Then understood Simon gave up. He knew where hospital. Radio he knew all, why not report after who? Simon gone already, vanished. Searched not found, decided died. I thought fled Germans, gone for good. Then after war silent. Accustomed already. And who say, dead not return, family shame life. Nora looked Thomas. Who you I come? Thomas hesitated. My grandfather Peter Walsh same unit, accused betrayal that he gave hospital. Old woman frowned. Pete Walsh, Stephen's son? Yes, mistake, voice strengthened firm, Pete not traitor, honest guy brave. Knew him childhood knew. But his name paramedic wrote before death, betrayed by Walsh. Walsh, yes, only not that Walsh. Simon, it was Simon. Nora hit fist table stove. Slandered someone deliberately so not think Simon. Who? No who. Old woman cut off, eyes darted. Fedia maybe. Kovilov he Simon cousin brigade commander. You think Kovilov knew? Think knew covered kin after all. Thomas drove home, felt strange relief. No, not that. Truth he felt truth. Grandfather not traitor, slandered, framed, bore stigma 80 years undeserved. Now can prove. Witness there, documents there. Not ironclad, but enough. Enough what? Rehabilitation, restore honest name. Or just himself no blood in veins, not traitorous, not base. Thomas didn't know. Knew only need finish. Next day Thomas back Nora with recorder notebook. Old woman talked 3 hours. Told all from start. Childhood Berezovka, war, occupation, Simon his German meetings, hospital destruction, silence long heavy life length. Why now? Thomas asked. Why agree tell? Nora looked window. Beyond glass forest same where 80 years ago killed people. Tired, she said. Tired, silent. 96 much, die soon, don't want with this, don't want there with lie. Understand what happened, your family Simons learn truth. What family? Old woman smirked bitter, none left, I last. Simon's children died, grandchildren scattered, no one remember. And Kovilov's, Nora pondered. Fedia's descendants probably somewhere cities, but they don't know. For them Fedia hero brigade commander, now learn different. Let learn, truth won. Sooner later comes out. Thomas gathered all. Paramedic diary, German defector testimonies, Kraw's Oberleutnant report, archive documents 2 Walsh's, Nora's testimonies recorded signed. Took to regional prosecutor with petition review case. Investigator Ermelieve same who led hospital case took documents, leafed frowning. Serious, he said finally. If confirms review inevitable. Will confirm, Thomas answered. Dates, facts, testimonies match. Witness 96. Defense say senile false memories. Head clear. See yourself talk. Ermelieve nodded. We'll talk. Appoint expertise documents handwriting. If all clean case goes. How long? Month maybe 2. Bureaucracy understand. Thomas understood but could wait. 30 years Forrest taught. While check went Thomas did other. Sought remaining unidentified victims' relatives. 16 people. Worked methodically. Archives databases social networks wrote queries called traveled. Found one too. Sanitarian Mikhailov's grandson Novosibirsk. Nurse Kravchenko's daughter Minsk 91 still alive. Wounded fighter Zaitsev's nephew Petersburg. To each told hospital execution found remains new facts real traitor. Reactions varied. Some cried thanks some disbelieved demanded proof. One woman paramedic Sokol's great-granddaughter that Tatyana Igorovna called herself. Thomas Petrovich heard found new facts. Found, true my great-grandmother betrayed not your grandfather. True. Other Walsh namesake. Pause long heavy. I said not very good things then about your family. Don't blame. You believed diary. Diary not lie. Great-grandmother saw what saw just named wrong person. Yes, deceived framed innocent. Who? Brigade Commander Kovilov covered own relative real traitor. Pause again. Scary, Tatyana Igorovna said. Betrayal squared. First give own to Germans, then blame innocent. Yes, scary. What do now? Seek rehabilitation for grandfather and truth. Expertise took 6 weeks. Checked all. Documents, handwritings, dates compared, analyzed, matched. Result unambiguous. Documents authentic Nora's testimonies align archive data events chronology confirms guilt Walsh Simon not Peter. Ermolive called evening. Thomas Petrovich decision. What? Prosecutor sent court representation, posthumous rehabilitation your grandfather and recognize Walsh Simon Michael guilty aiding occupiers. Thomas silent couldn't speak throat tight. Hear me, here he forced. When court, 2 weeks, call as witness. Court in District Center. Small hall 50 seats packed. Victims, relatives, journalists curious. Thomas sat front row next Gregory Tatyana Igorovna few more victims' families. Judge elderly woman tired face read case materials long monotone, facts dates testimonies, then called witnesses. First Nora. Brought by car couldn't walk. Sat wheelchair small withered but voice firm clear. Witness tell known October 1943 events. Nora told same as Thomas but detailed. Saw Simon with Germans silent all years decided speak before death. Why sure exactly Walsh Simon not Peter? Because Pete knew childhood knew. He different honest straight couldn't betray not in nature. And Simon could he always wanted more envied angry. Germans promised good rich life he sold. Hall silent listened every word. Then expert called. Confirmed. Documents authentic chronology matches accusation Peter Walsh untenable. Then prosecutor read conclusion. Walsh Peter Stephen accused unjustly based erroneous testimonies with command connivance. Finally judge. Court decrees Walsh Peter Stephen rehabilitate posthumous recognize victim slander illegal accusation. Walsh Simon Michael recognize guilty aiding occupiers betrayal causing 23 deaths. Hall exhaled. Someone applauded uncertain lonely then others joined. Thomas sat still looked judge emblem above head. Rehabilitated. Grandfather rehabilitated. 80 years finally justice. After court people approached shook hand thanked. Victims, relatives he found hugged cried. Thank you Tatyana Igorovna said. For truth justice. I just searched Thomas answered. Truth found itself. Not itself you found. Could silent forget but didn't. Gregory approached congrats. You did what my grandfather couldn't. Your grandfather suspected. Without him wouldn't uncover. Anyway you finished. Maine. Thomas nodded. Words failed. Still unbelievable. Evening Ermolive called. Thomas Petrovich one more question. What? Monument District Center your grandfather name. What with? Restore as hero not traitor if agree. Thomas thought. Monument seen hundreds times. Black granite gold letters hero partisan P.S. Walsh. Then name removed after first publication scandal. Left empty rectangle like scar stone. Now can return. Yes, he said. Agree. Return name. Ceremony May Victory Anniversary. At Monument gathered people. Veterans few still alive school kids flowers officials speeches and victims. Families came whole country 40 people. Thomas stood front row watched workers remove cloth restored inscription. Hero partisan P.S. Walsh 1943 died defending homeland. Not traitor not turncoat hero as was 80 years ago before slander lie. Today restore justice, district head said. Good name man died homeland slandered maligned but not broken. Thomas listened not listened looked grandfather name letters shining sun. You not traitor grandfather never were. Forgive doubted forgive believed lie. Now know truth, now all know. After ceremony went cemetery not district rural Alkovka where grandfather born family lived. No grave body never found. But now cenotaph stone name dates. Nearby 23 stones mass grave those found hospital reburied here native soil. Thomas stood grandfather grave looked stone carved letters. Walsh Peter Stephen 1943 rehabilitated posthumous. Forgive he said quiet. For all forgive. Wind swayed birch branches leaves rustled. Answer, or just wind. Thomas didn't know, didn't matter. Maine he did what must. Found truth restored justice returned grandfather honest name. Now can live on. Life continued. Thomas returned forest cabin worked as before, patrols reports tree cares. But something changed. Burden gone, that invisible pressing shoulders since found hospital. Guilt shame sense his blood traitorous. Now knew not traitorous honest clean blood man died homeland. Enough. Once year later Thomas visited Nora. Old woman still lived defying forecasts 97 withered like chip but tenacious. Came, she said seeing him, thought forgot, not forgot, Brought something. Thomas took book from bag, thick hardcover. Hospital in Forest, truth about betrayal and justice, author Thomas Walsh with Simon Gregory. What this? Nora took turned hands. Story all we learned published, so remember. Remember truth about those 23, my grandfather, your brother. Nora silent leafed pages slowly nearsighted. Simon there? There as traitor. Right, old woman nodded. Let remember how happens. She closed book, put table. Thank you, she said, for all. For what? For truth, courage, not afraid, dig. I had too, Thomas answered. For grandfather, myself, all. Nora looked long appraising. Good man, Thomas, honest like grandfather Pete. Thomas smiled first, long time truly. Thank you, grandmother, Bess said me. He returned home through forest, familiar path. Sun setting, painting sky gold. Birds sang evening song. Smelled pine resin life. Thomas walked, thought grandfather, never knew war, never saw justice, came 80 years late, yes, too late, dead, but not late living, those remember, those will. Truth, no statute limitations. Sooner later comes light, just need search, not give up, believe. Thomas stopped clearing edge, that same where found hospital where story began. Place changed, bunker filled, leveled. On mound, wooden cross, simple nearby plaque. Here perished 23 Soviet patriots, 15th October 1943. Remember. Thomas stood minutes silent, then went on home cabin to faithful. Life continued. And so ends story Forester Thomas, man who sought truth, found it. Story justice possible, even 80 years, that silence not protection, but complicity, that truth sooner later comes light. 23 people died, betrayed, one slandered another, but names restored, memory preserved, death not vain. Remember this, seek truth, don't silent. Liked story, like, subscribe, channel, comment. What city you from, how old you think Thomas did write, uncovering family secret. Ahead new stories, even more captivating, unexpected, don't miss.